back at you with another video. So today we're going to be doing a little amplifier unboxing. So just picked this up. It's the Audio Apex Cab 45 version 2. So the reason I got this is because I sold the JP amp that I had. And the reason I sold that is just because a couple weeks ago we was doing some testing on the term lab, and I was only able to get like 1200 watts out of it. So that's not really good as far as, you know, trying to be loud, of course, but I just feel like there's still a lot left in the tank with the setup that I have. So that was the reason behind getting this. So what we're going to do here, we're going to do a little unboxing and see what we're working with. So I picked this up off of caraudiobargain.com, and they actually shipped it the same day, so it was really quick shipping with it. Didn't come damaged or anything like that, and this looks to be very well packaged. So it's got of course, the bass knob, little Audio Apex label on there. It's got power light and a clip light. It feels nice and smooth. That's your owner's manual. Let's see. Got some Allen wrenches and some screws. Zero gauge inputs. Looks to be up to 8 gauge speaker wire. It's got some weight to it too. That thing's not light at all. It's got I like how it's got the covers over the input so no dust or trash gets in there. But yeah, so let me show you. We're gonna have to figure out, we're gonna have to make some room to fit this bad boy in there. So if you've watched any of the previous videos I've made, you'll know the amp that I had was mounted right here. Still got the bolts and the washers that it was sitting on, but of course those will be coming out. But to get them out, you got to take this whole bottom piece out. Let's see, got to get a measurement here. So looking like 8 5/8 is what this bottom piece is, and the widest spot on the amplifier is 8 7/8. So we're gonna have to do a little fabricating, make it work. Still gonna try. I'm still gonna keep it elevated, just because airflow, keeping it cool and everything. Don't know if I'm gonna try and maybe put it at an angle if I have the room for it. We'll just have to see, but obviously still gonna be elevated. But I guess next order of business is get started on removing all this, so let's get to that. Alright, so I got the speaker slash amp rack out. That thing was in there pretty good. So way I'm looking at it, I'm probably just gonna keep this the same now that I'm thinking about it, just because that bracket does add a lot of strength to it right here. I'm probably going to go back and right here I'm probably going to put an L bracket on this corner and come down, so it'll have another set of bracing right there. But that won't interfere with where the amp's going to go or anything. But getting low on this GoPro battery here, and I just got off third shift this morning, so I'm just trying to get a little bit done before I gotta lay down. But yeah, so that's what the back side of that speaker amp rack looks like. I went ahead and I threw the impact on these 4 bolts right here just to make sure they was good and tight. But this little beauty panel that I've done, it's just velcroed on. What I'm thinking about doing is I've actually already got them, but I'm gonna get some like round magnets, and I'm gonna either like a hot glue / construction adhesive or something, and basically do magnets and do away with the velcro and countersink, drill me some holes and countersink for a magnet to go in those holes. That way it'll be more of a flush fit, because the way that velcro makes it stick off just a little bit, that thin wood likes to flex really bad, and it makes it look like that back wall is flexing them more than what it actually is. But yeah guys, I'm gonna wrap that up for today, and I'll catch you guys on another day, so we'll see you then. All right, so fast forward about 24 hours, and we're back down here piddling on the amp rack here. So let me show you. Went by Lowe's this morning, picked up some hardware that I think is gonna work. So got this 6-inch L bracket here. I just got it sitting there. Still got to get the holes drilled for that, and I'll go back and paint this bracket black just so it kind of matches. And I also forgot to mention, but this whole speaker rack, I'm going to repaint it. So I think I'm going to go with that gray color that's on that back wall, and the same color as my center console. May leave this bottom section, just do the bottom black, and then this top spot gray. I don't know, I'll figure that out whenever it comes time. But so if you remember the measurements for that amp, it was just slightly bigger than this board right here. So what I'm thinking is, got these little, it's kind of like an L bracket, but it's, you know what I'm saying, it's not the same. Anyways, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna figure out where exactly how far I need this to hang off, and I can have 3 screws holding this bracket down, and the same way with this side, 3 screws, and then this last bracket will be where the bolt that will come up through here, and it'll also have this that rubber stopper on, and the amp will sit on that. So I think that's gonna be my best option, so I don't have to like unscrew this piece right here, because I didn't glue it on, it's just screwed in from the back side. I think that's gonna be my best option to mount the amp on. So I'm gonna get this amp unboxed here and start to test fitting and see what I can come up with. Alright, so I have not filmed anything that I've done to this because it's just a lot of test fitting, making sure it's gonna work, cutting, measuring. Yeah, it's just kind of a little tedious process. So let me show you what I got figured out here. So I was able to mount it at an angle like I was wanting to originally, and it was actually only the really way I was going to be able to get it to fit, because with this metal brace right here, this metal brace was going to be in the way. If this was laid flat and elevated like I was needing it to be, it would have been in the way of my power and probably the ground. So it didn't matter which way I put it, it was gonna be getting in my way. So it actually worked out really good, because now I don't have nothing interfering with the inputs here. So basically took those brackets and I had to grind this corner down just slightly so it will I can still get my bolt hole. This is what mounts it to the truck or whatever. So I just kind of rounded that off. Still got to go back and put in another screw there, but that'll be after the fact. And so I played around with this angle until I got it to where I liked it. So basically just took this one and the other side to the vise and just kind of bent it a little bit here, a little bit there, until I got the right angle that I liked. And on this back piece, the only thing that made sense was just to get a block, and this turned out to be a 22.5 degree angle is what that is. So I traced out the bottom of this block here, and of course this will get painted. I'm gonna probably glue and screw from the bottom side to hold this block on, and then it's just got this 2.5 inch wood screw with a washer and that rubber washer right there. And it still left me about a quarter to 3/8 of an inch gap underneath here, the speaker rack itself. The only thing that I'm gonna have to figure out is where to mount this the fan, because I don't know if you can tell, but we're really slim on room back over here. So I'm still gonna should still have good room for the remote plug-in and the RCA's and all the adjustments. So let's see, on this piece of wood I had to notch it just so I could drill into the center of this block of wood. I just notched that out just so it just slides over that brace right there. So let's throw this thing in the truck, see if it fits. Alright, so the way it's looking, I think it's gonna work, guys. I like how I was able to get it at an angle. It just kind of makes it a little more, you know, appealing to the eye, I guess. And it's of course elevated, and I got good access to RCA's, the remote plug-in for the bass knob, and all the settings right here. And for my power and grounds, since I put it at an angle, I'm able to bypass this metal brace right here, so that helps out a lot. It's going to be a little tight in this section right here because the ultra cap stops about right there. So I may be able to curve the cable. If not, I can get an adapter to go on the end of a wire ferrule, and it'll be basically like a 90 and come out. But definitely a lot easier getting to the Allen bolts for the power wire, ground wire, and the speakers wire and all that stuff. So pretty freaking happy. Definitely takes up a lot more room, but it looks pretty slick if you ask me. Okay, so while I'm waiting on that paint to dry, I'm gonna go ahead and use some Lexel silicone, and that's what I'm gonna use to hold these magnets on. So I've already kind of measured out where they're gonna go. So I'm gonna throw some Lexel on the back of those, let that cure for a little bit, and then I'll take some paint and just kind of put a little dab of paint on the top of each one, and then place it on the back side of that wall. That way I know where to countersink the holes for the other magnets. And I almost forgot, but the pieces of wood that the crossovers are mounted to, I need to get them painted. So while we're waiting on that Lexel to harden up, and throw some paint on these things. Alright, so I went ahead and I took the piece of plywood that was bolted up on that back wall. I took it out. So these are the bolt holes that holds it on, or countersunk or whatever. So this silicone was dry enough, so I went ahead and was able to, like I said, paint the tops of each one of these, and then placed it on, and just eyeballed it and placed it on there, and then that put my circle for where I needed to drill with the drill to countersink for the magnet. So that's the top there. And what I got to be careful with is make sure I put the magnets the right direction. So if not, it won't stick. So right now that one's pushing away, but if I flip it, it's pulling toward it. So I know it needs to go in the hole like so. And just repeat that process. And then pull them back out one by one and make sure I put the silicone on the right side and let it cure. And that's a wrap, folks. Got everything buttoned up last night. It was dark, so that's why I didn't film anything, but got it ready for this Saturday. Oh yeah, turned out pretty freaking good. So I was able to mount the fan up here, use the bolt or the screw that holds the that panel on for the crossover there, and it's pointed down facing the amp, because I tried multiple different ways, but I couldn't fit it down in there, but it works. Got everything wired up. And since this amp didn't come with a bass knob, well, no, it come with a bass knob, but with a voltmeter, I tied in. That's what the white wire going to the negative terminal, and the red wire is the positive. And then I got it's tied into the remote wire, so it runs. Got my wiring ran, comes along through here, and then I just added this voltmeter right there. But yeah, guys, what do you think? Turned out pretty good. And so there's still actually right there with the seat lean back. So there's the other door. I added this little I custom made this little bracket, and I just screwed it to the wood there, and it's just for a little precaution, you know, just if I was to ever get in a wreck, the ultra cap wouldn't slide forward. So that's just kind of what that is. I couldn't put one on the bottom because that fuse, my fuse is down there. But yeah, guys, I guess that's gonna wrap this video up, and make sure you stay tuned for some testing, and maybe see if we didn't get any louder on the meter here. So thank you for watching. This is Derek signing out. I'll see you in the next one.